I think there I am. Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, January 8th. January 8th. This is the day, Wednesday, every Wednesday, this time of the morning, about 8:30, California Pacific time. I just do a bit of a riff and some thoughts. My name is Dr. Rick Tamlin. I wrote a book called Play Your Bigger Game. And you're seeing it on the wall over there. It was released a number of years ago, and here's a training I did the other day on a flip chart. Just telling you my background. I don't know why. Okay, let me just make sure that I'm live and things are going well here. Hang on one second, little tech moment. Let me see. Okay, yeah, just checking with somebody who's watching to make sure that I have a fabulous person in my world, Jocelyn Flowers, who does remarkable support and marketing and messaging and tech help for me in my work in the world. So anyway, happy Wednesday, and I'll get right to it. By the way, if you are watching on, there's various platforms this is going to. This is going to Facebook, this is going to Instagram, couple of pages on Instagram, etc. Excuse me, in Facebook. None of that matters. What matters is the topic. So, here's the thing. A couple of doorways into this thought this morning. First of all, I love reading other people's books. I devour. I'm reading like 8 books right now at the same time. I'm in the personal and leadership development space, life coaching. If you follow me in the world, that's my game. That's my thing. I want people to have this life that feels rich and dynamic and connected and all those pretty words that we say about 1,000 times in our minds, right? And because I believe we can have that, I really do. Life is up and down, and there's situations and circumstances, of course, but the opportunity to be engaged with it is always in front of us, right? So. One of the concepts that I love. So I'm gonna speak about 2 different authors who I love. The first one is actually, I'm gonna grab it from my bookshelf right above me. My bookshelf is right above me. So you've probably heard of Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she wrote a fabulous book a number of years ago called Big Magic. I refer to a lot because it's about creative living beyond fear, right? There's the subtitle. But here's why I'm talking about it today. First of all, great book. This edition, by the way, this was the uncorrected proof for limited distribution that I got early on before it was released to the public, because I had asked and had Elizabeth Gilbert speak at one of my events, which was really cool. Live event that we did, conference many years ago. She's just delightful, by the way, just exactly the way you imagine Elizabeth Gilbert to be. If you don't know who that is, go watch her TED Talk. It's remarkable. But why am I talking about Elizabeth Gilbert and Big Magic today? So I've had this philosophy for many years that I have said in various ways. You know how you have a philosophy for living, right? And it has come to me over the years as working with people myself, and I think I want to be careful that I project on all of you this concept, but many of us suffer from low grade anxiety, and I want to be very careful here. Low grade anxiety. I was chatting with a couple of clients yesterday, and right, this sort of inner life that's like, is it going to be okay? Is it going to be okay? And that we all know this state, right? We all kind of go through it. And there's, different levels of it, right? Now, I'm not speaking about high anxiety that needs attention from a doctor. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about the anxiety state that is, we can function with it. It's not debilitating. It doesn't take us out, but it's just sort of there. It's like a low grade. It's like right? It's like lives at this level. And I promise I'm gonna connect the dot back to Big Magic here. So I've had this philosophy that the antidote to that, or the sort of way to handle that, is creativity. Because I believe, and you should try this on as a perspective and really think about it. I really invite you to think about this, that you cannot experience low-grade anxiety and creativity at the same time. It's sort of, you kind of bounce from one to the other, right? And I'm going to use the example of cooking or writing a book or writing a play or like something that's in the creative space, right? Excuse me, sorry for my moment. I've got a cough. But if I use the concept of cooking, right, baking, think about it. Like when you're making something that you really love, maybe a meal, you're preparing a meal. And, recently over the holiday, we had people over for dinner and we create this amazing table and, the whole deal, the whole creativity thing. There's not a lot of anxiety happening in that moment because you're in the state of creating something for people to experience, right? Which is remarkable, right? Hopefully it'll be remarkable. People will experience it in whatever way they experience it. But what you're doing is bringing your desire to have people experience something amazing, right? And I think that's what creativity is. I want people to experience something amazing, and whether they internalize that or agree with you on that, but your intention is that, right? So the concept is cannot experience anxiety at the same time as you experience creativity. So basically the sentence is, like, the core belief is, I cannot experience low grade, or the antidote to low grade anxiety is creativity, right? So there's the core concept. And I know I've been dealing with that and I've been talking about it with my clients. I have a mastermind group of about 30 people, and we talk about that a lot, and remain in the creative space to get your work into the world and write a book and whatever it is, right? Whatever the form it wants to take. So coming back to Big Magic. So Big Magic's concept and core premise and core belief is you have this idea that comes to you, and either you make it real or you don't, right? And it's sort of from the universal space, right? And some of you know I received my doctorate a couple years ago in the field of advanced consciousness, which was really a study in quantum physics, right? The whole quantum field thing. So the concept is from the quantum field, this idea comes to you, right? So I had this philosophy and this ideology around how to handle low-grade anxiety with creativity. I didn't act on it. I talked about it, but I didn't turn it into anything, okay? So the Elizabeth Gilbert's concept from her book is, well, if you don't act on it, the idea is going to go find somebody else, okay? Hang on, I'm just going to do a little cough for a second. Excuse me. The idea, the philosophy, that concept is going to go find another person to make it real. Well, actually, as of yesterday, Dr. Martha Beck, who I wildly respect, she is also in the field that I'm in. Elizabeth Gilbert, the folks who are in the personal development space, right? She released a book yesterday, and I'm going to make sure I get the right title. Hang on here while I make sure I get the right title. It's called Beyond Anxiety. Okay, it just was released yesterday, Tuesday, January 7th. Okay, I'm going to buy it today. Have not even read it, right? But here's its premise. Its premise is the antidote to low-grade anxiety is creativity. So yesterday I saw the email. I'm on her email list. By the way, Dr. Martha Beck, you should go check her out. She's Oprah's coach. She's written inside Oprah magazine for years. If you don't know her, please go follow her, right? And doing great work in the world. She's a sociologist. I think that's where her doctorate came from, in sociology. Like myself, she loves to uncork the human condition and sort of help people, right? She has a coaching school. I'm not going to go into it. Martha Beck is her name, Beck. Okay. So this book comes out yesterday, and I read this online, and I get her email, and I'm like, right? Like, oh my God, And my first thought, of course, is this book. I didn't act on it. Well, somebody else did. And then I went through my little jealous phase and my little envy phase, and like, oh, right. And classic, right? Like, oh, it's already been done, and I didn't act on it. And, and then I sort of, find my way on the other side of that moment of self-judgment and go, okay, I get it. I get it. Good for you. And, I really go good for you. I'm going to buy her book and I'm going to tell other people to buy her book. And here I am telling you right now to go buy her book. And because I love the concept. And then I realized, my ego needs to let go and go, the concept needs to be in the world because I believe in the concept. If it happens through me or through her or 87,000 other people, doesn't matter. The concept wants to be made real, and she decided to make it in a tangible way a bit more real than me. I was chatting about it in workshops. I chat about it with clients, but she wanted to make it really tangible and really sticky in a book format, right? So the point of this brief Wednesday, January 8th riff here is, do you act on the, I'm gonna train you in a concept called the quantum flirt. The quantum flirt, which is basically, a cousin to the concept in here in Big Magic, where you get this idea, like it's like a flirt. It comes in and goes, I should do that, or I should talk about that, or I should make that real, or I should write that movie, or I should, I want to create, right? I want to create this thing, and then I don't act on it. And, I get busy. I go back to business as usual, which is fine. There's no shaming or blaming or judgment inside this. I just want you to be fascinated by your own, do I act on this? Do I not act on this? Do I want to make it real? Because the other thing inside of this you want to consider, and you want to be careful of like loading it with, well, this better than do something for me. This better make me a bestseller author, or this better make me a millionaire, or whatever. Like we put a demand on the thing that wants to be made real, and we tell it, well, now you're supposed to be a thing for me. And I think that's where it falls apart. Instead of, you look at that idea, that concept, that thing you want to make real. I'm going to use my coffee cup as an example. Like, you imagine this thing wants to be made real. A new coffee wants to come into the world. Like, you have this idea. I have a new coffee idea. And you're like, oh, this better make me a millionaire. This better, this is a business. This is a, maybe, but you have to look at the thing and go, this thing just wants to be made real, and I'm the creator of it, or I'm the one that actually just brings it to life. Because here's the thing, in the quantum field, it's already real. I mean, Disney understood this concept. Steve Jobs understood this concept, that these ideas that they make real, iPhone, sort of live in their consciousness, and they decide to act on them, right? And of course, many of them turn them into a business, and we all know I'm not going to go down the business path for now. But initially, it's, do I act on it or not? And I've never studied this with people. I've never done a research project on this, but I'm going to make up a sense of, most people do not act on those urges. Right? They just don't. It's like, I have time for that. I have business as usual. I have to go make a living, which I totally get. There's no, right? But the other day in my gym, they have TV screens, right? On the screen was Shark Tank. Shark Tank for me is, I have an idea that I want to put something into the world, and I present it to people, right? And they decide, are they going to invest or not? But that's why I think that show is so popular, because we all have this, what? Oh my God, I have a thing I want to put into the world, right? Now, about Shark Tank, that's a whole judgment. They decide they like it, they don't, they invest, they don't. I'm not going to go down that path. But it's an interesting model of like, I want this thing in the world. And am I going to act on it, or am I not? And then the other concept that hit me this morning as I was on my morning walk about this is, one little step at a time. I don't have to go from zero to, it's a book in 1 second. I go, oh, okay, there's an idea. What do I do with it? Well, let me do a Facebook Live about it. Let me journal about it. Let me let me sort of see, what wants to happen first from this. I mean, the life coaching industry, as you all know, huge multi-trillion-dollar industry now. When we started it, I was a early adopter. I didn't invent it, but I was an early adopter 40 years ago. They were doing workshops and it didn't go well in the beginning, and then it did, and then it didn't, and right, it was a very right, but they dared to move it forward, right? And you all know, well, actually, if you don't know, we were laughed at in the beginning. We were made fun of. Like, who needs a life coach? Why would you need a life coach? What you can't do your own life. I mean, there's all kinds of feedback around that. And we just kept doing it. And here we are 40 years later, and it's a, huge industry, and Martha Beck and even Elizabeth Gilbert talks about it. And, it's a pretty famous business, as we know now. So coming back around to all of you, if you're listening, by the way, when you have a comment, you're welcome to jot it into the comment section in Facebook or in Instagram. I should be able to see it. I'm on a new technology called eCam, and so I'm always trying to see if I can hear you guys or see you guys. Not see you, excuse me. Let me get that right. To comment on if you got something that you want to say in there. So I was just checking my streaming to make sure it's working. Okay, let's finish this up here today. Back to you. So creativity is the antidote to low-grade anxiety. And the final piece I want to offer is when you see somebody else having done something or created something, or they have a practice that you want, or they did a TED talk and you have that, oh my gosh, and why didn't here's the way to look at it. And because I can either be intimidated or jealous, or I can be inspired by. And I go through this sort of, not intimidated, but I go through this like jealous phase. Like I go through this sort of envy, like, oh, why didn't I, I should have, and right. And then it goes into this perspective, or this inner thought, inner dialogue of I should have, and why didn't I, and it's too late, and it's already been done, and and it's like it just cycles into like a land that doesn't support. And then I call my coach, right, and go, what am I going to do with this thought? But this morning on my walk, it hit me again. I was reminded of to be inspired by it and go, good for you, like yay, and then to even add, add a layer to this called, I want to support this. I want this message in the world. This message needs to be heard by lots of people. So rather than be intimidated by it or sort of overwhelmed by it or some other perspective, my job is to actually promote it. My job is to promote it. So what I'm going to do today, and first of all, go check out Martha Beck's book. I'm going to buy it today. I've not even read it, but I can tell you it'll already be great. I promise you it'll already be great. Because I've read her previous books. They're always good. They're always insightful. There's good storytelling. She's real. She's raw. She tells the truth about the human condition. And I always learn a lot about myself through her Martha Beck's books. So go get her book, right? And by the way, she doesn't know I'm doing this. This is not a paid gig. There's nothing going on where we have an agreement to do this. Just like nothing. However, part 2 of this is, I want this message in the world. So what am I going to do? I'm going to reach out to her today. I have no idea how to get to her. I have no idea. I don't have her email address. I don't have her phone number. I'm going to find out, though. I'm going to because we're all 1 degree of separation from people these days, or maybe 2 degrees. I'm going to reach out to her and say, listen, I want to either do an interview with you into my world, because I got about 5,000 people on my email list. I want to do either you do a class. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but I go, Martha, your message needs to be in the world. How can I help? That's what I'm going to ask. I have no idea what it's going to turn into, but that's my creative urge now to kind of handle my own inner dialogue of my own anxiety of like, well, why didn't I, and all that. Instead of like that, let me go to a creative space. Let me reach out to her. Let's do a class together. I'll do an interview of you. How can I, right? Certainly how can I, send an email to my list about your book, right? Something like that. So that's the shift from like, the lower self, the kind of going, oh, into, oh, this message I like, and I want this message into the world. Very simple idea. And I give that to you when you have this moment of envy or jealousy. You flip it into, you know what, this message, this thing, this concept needs to be in the world, and what's my part in bringing it to the world, rather than I'm being jealous of her, the person. I'm committed to the message she has going into the world. Does that make sense? Because most of the time I go to the personal, Rick Tamlin ego. Oh my gosh, I missed it. Why didn't I do it? Instead of like, wait a minute, this message, this thing, this concept, and I keep, holding my hands up like it's a thing. Like there's a message, there's a core belief in here that it needs to be in the world because I love it. I've promoted it myself. I believe in it. She happened to act on it a little faster than me. How can I actually promote it and move it forward because I believe in it so wholeheartedly? So there's my Wednesday wisdom for you about your own work in the world, your own thing in the world, your own ideology, your own philosophy, whatever it is. And when you start to spin into that tunnel of like, what about me? Like, why didn't I? Or, oh my God, they did it before me. That's about my own sort of lower self ego, right? And my soul, let's use that language, says this needs to be in the world. Yay for you. Yay for you, Dr. Martha Beck. Yay for you, Elizabeth Gilbert, right? And they are being responsible business owners and messengers and leaders in the world. They're using all the technology. I'm getting all the emails. I've seen her on being interviewed. Like she's out there getting this message into the world. And I am wildly inspired by that this morning. So be on the lookout for emails. If you're not on my email list, let me know. Rick Tamlin Rick at itsallmadeup.com. And the other thing, just as a moment of letting you know what's going on in my world that you can join. Let me pull up my calendar. Tomorrow, hang on here. Tomorrow, January 9th. So you guys know I wrote a book called Play Your Bigger Game. Every January, pretty much every year, I do a bigger game public 90-minute workshop. What is your bigger game this year? What are you working on? It's a masterclass, right? It's tomorrow morning. Excuse me. Let me breathe. I get so excited. It's Wednesday. Excuse me. Oh my God, my brain. It is going to be Thursday, January 9th at 10 a.m. Okay. It's an hour and 15-minute long. It's a free class. If you're not on my email list, you can email me, rick at itsallmadeup.com. You can go to ricktamlin.com and get on my email list. You'll get the link to it. It's a bigger game masterclass tomorrow, January 9th, Thursday, for about 75 minutes. Okay. I have many people registered, and that's going to happen via Zoom, right? That's how it happens these days. So that's tomorrow, January 9th. The other thing I want you to know about is I'm doing a money class. And this, again, I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm doing a 6-week money class based on another fabulous book called, oh my gosh, my brain is losing the name of the money class book. Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And that's a 6-week class. And let me get you the dates on that. And again, the fastest way to find out all the details is to get on my email list, and then you'll get all the details in the registration. Yeah, there we go. So Jocelyn is just putting this into the chat. That begins on January 23rd. Okay, you can register. You'll see the link in the chat right now. The link, by the way, is a little bit weird. We are having a little bit of a tech issue. I'm not going to go into the details. It's a bit of a long link right now. There's a tech issue that we can't seem to fix. We're working on it with our people. But it does. This link that is in the chat does work. and want to give you $200 off, right, the class, and there'll be a special, Jocelyn's going to put that in there, a special deal. If you're watching this right now, there's a special code to put in there to take $200 off that class. So that's tomorrow. Oh my gosh, let me get my dates right. That begins on January 23rd. Okay, let me make sure I get you some times there as well. 9 a.m. Pacific time on January 23rd, 6 weeks in a row. Jocelyn just put it in there. Enter save 200 at the checkout to receive $200 off the class, right? We have about, I think there's about 30 to 35 people registered from what I last checked. And we're going to do the deep dive into your relationship with money, right? And we're also going to get behind the curtain of the data of money, not just the being of money. Because many of us have a crappy relationship with money. We've inherited it. We're going to look at that. We're going to uncork your relationship with money. But we're also going to get into the details of money and where does it come from and how do you make it and budgeting and all this stuff. Okay, so happy Wednesday, everybody. It's the top of the hour, and I hope this has been useful. I'll just leave you with this final thought. Just remember, thank you, Martha Beck, for making this real. The antidote to low-grade anxiety is creativity. So what is the creative expression of you that wants to be made real in the world? That actually it'll be a 2-for-1. You'll be creating something that matters to you and matters to the world. Because by the way, if it matters to you, it matters to the world because you are of the world. Okay. It's a 2-for-1. You'll be creating something that matters and you'll actually be supporting your psyche. Because when you're in a space of creativity, the anxiety goes down. So, all right, everybody, happy Wednesday. More to come. You'll see me, in the world of social media. And if you're not on my email list, please feel free to join Rick at itsallmadeup.com. You can just email me and I'll just give me your email address inside that email and I'll get you onto our email list because I do a lovely Sunday newsletter that people seem to like. And, I'm out there putting the good work and the good message into the world about the life that we are able to create for ourselves. So, all right, everybody, more to come. I'm going to finish this out and push some stuff.